Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from True Off My Chest. Our first post is by Throwaway. I thought I suffocated my baby. Now I have a broken wrist. I'm 19F, and this happened a few days ago. Still have, I guess, a really bad cold and couldn't sleep because I felt so sick. Plus I was getting pretty sick of the constant headache and river of snot dripping from my nose. I finally decided to pop a few NyQuil to knock me out so I could finally get some rest. Those work really strong with me, and I fell asleep quick. I tend to have very vivid dreams, and I'm thinking the NyQuil made them worse. In my dream, I was still laying in my dorm bed. Suddenly my mom showed up and handed me a little bundle with a baby all wrapped up. My dream mom said it was my daughter. I was confused, and suddenly some nurse appeared and confirmed she was my baby. The last thing I clearly remember was tucking the newborn right next to me in bed. I dreamed a lot of stuff after that, but I can't remember any of it clearly enough to make sense. I snapped awake around 3 a.m. I was groggy and reached to grab some water. I felt a weird lump directly under me. I was wondering what it was when my dream came rushing back. I have never felt more sudden, chilling fear than I did in that moment. The clearest thought in my head was that I had killed my poor baby only hours after getting her by suffocating her under me. I toss and turn a lot when I sleep, so I guess it could easily happen. I practically launched myself to the side while frantically trying to grab under me. I did this with so much sudden force, I ended up violently rolling myself right off the twin mattress. I have a stool on the floor so I can climb into my weirdly high dorm bed. I fell directly onto it. My left wrist took the brunt of it. I landed on it with all my weight. I literally heard a slight crunch noise that still haunts me now. I shouted in fear when I fell, and once I registered the pain I yelled out again. My roommate woke up and we both panicked together for a bit. I can't believe I was still thinking about it, but I mentioned my baby to her. She looked really confused, and suddenly I became aware of reality once again. Almost all my blankets fell with me, and the thing I had felt under me fell too. It was my pillow pet. It doesn't even look or feel like a baby. I was really out of it. So yeah, now my wrist is broken and my doctor is even saying I might even need surgery. It's my dominant hand. My roommate laughed for 20 minutes when I told her this whole story. It's embarrassing. This sucks. Maybe the universe is showing me some sort of sign that I probably shouldn't have kids, or at least make sure to pre-order the crib. For anyone who has a real baby, practice safe sleep, folks. Our next post is by No Contact For You. None of my family knows this trip will be the last time they see me. Firstly, I'm okay, physically anyway. Honestly, I have no idea who this is for, but I think I just need it out of my head. The circumstances of my birth were complicated. I broke up 2 marriages, and my family has never been shy about how they feel about me for that. Only one of my brothers has gotten drunk enough to tell me to my face that he resents me for existing, but I know it exists within all of them, at least in some way. I am much younger than all my siblings, and there was so much that happened out of our hands that I made excuses, but my whole life I've never quite felt part of the family. As a child, I told myself we'd make up for lost time once I got older, and we could talk as equals. Now at 23, I see glimpses of the life I wished I'd have, but in the end, I'm always too much trouble to involve. I hear everything from my father. I had to find out my niece was in a car accident from him. I had to find out my other niece had a miscarriage from him. I had to find out my oldest brother had a brain tumor haphazardly on a phone call with my father, which he didn't even know I was unaware of. I've known for a while I'm the only one trying, but for the sake of my dreams, I've given every opportunity for them to let me in, but I just can't do it anymore. I have a psychiatric service dog who aids me with CPTSD. He is the single greatest thing to happen to me. Not only did he save my life from myself, but he has made life livable. He can tell when I'm panicking, and he knows pressure therapy to help me through an attack. He stops me from hurting myself in meltdowns, sits with me until the only noise I can hear anymore is his snoring on my lap. He allows me to go grocery shopping by myself. He is my soulmate, and anyone who knows me knows how important he is to me. My dating life isn't thriving, so I took a shot in the dark and asked my niece if she minded if I brought my service dog as my +1 for her wedding at the end of this month. I have to fly across the country to go, so I will be bringing him anyway since I cannot fly alone. I figured it couldn't hurt to see if he could not have to stay in the hotel all night. I do not technically need him for the event, since I'll know every guest and I will be drinking pretty heavily to cope, but getting to spoil him with a bow tie, dancing and steak, sounded like the perfect reward for helping me on my flight. Several times I emphasized that I understood it was an odd request and she could say no if she wanted. She was emphatic that he could come. She said even if I found a date, he could come. I was elated for once. I felt seen. I felt cared about. I felt valued. And then I got a call from my dad. No one wanted to make things awkward, but the mother of the bride was not okay with a dog being at the venue. I explained that he is a trained service animal and will not impede the ceremony in any way, and I'd of course remove him if he did. Still, he said they didn't like it. I was so tired of hearing everyone else's words through my father. He won't be around forever, and sooner or later, they will have to start talking to me. I had one request: let the bride tell me. When I asked her, she said yes, and until she told me she changed her mind, I was under the assumption he could go. Well, I never heard back. My dad kept dropping hints when I'd call him, but I told him what my expectations were. When I RSVP'd, I put my dog as my +1 on the response to let them know I wasn't backing down this time. At this point, I didn't even care if she said he couldn't go. I just wanted to hear it from her. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my father. Not even a text, an email explaining that my niece didn't want to be the bad guy, but my dog was not welcome at the wedding. He said he was sorry, but he could still come with me to the hotel if I wanted. Something inside me broke, I think. I realized this is truly a helpless case. They are never going to respect me the way I crave them to. To this day, not one of our conversations has been started by them. I always initiate, and now the one time I request a direct contact, I get an email. Family means everything to me. Over the last few years, I've redefined what a family can be, and if right now my family needs to be a very damaged orphan and their service animal, I'm grateful I have that much. So I'm going to the wedding, and then I'm never going to talk to any of them again. And the sad part is, I didn't even think they're going to notice. Our next post is by Pizza Hands. I memorized the world map in one night to gaslight my friend. The instigation was hanging out with my friend from Italy, and he was talking crap about how Americans don't know geography. This basically culminated in him making me do one of those online quizzes where you have to select each country in Europe. As I am terrible at geography, I got maybe 40% of them right, and now he was talking even more crap than ever. The preparation. I pretended to brush it off, but when I got home, I just started playing the game again out of boredom. I already knew most of North and South America, so I just practiced that nonchalantly for a while. After maybe 20 minutes of this, I could regularly get all of them in about 3 minutes, with no mistakes. I realized that that did not take any time at all, and started on Europe. This took me maybe 40 minutes to get to the same point. The plan started to formulate in my mind. After practicing Europe some more, I realized that if I was suddenly an expert of American and European geography, but knew nothing about any of the other continents, it would look suspicious. It was possible that he might try to go head-to-head in Asia or Africa. I could not let this happen. I spent the better part of the next 5 hours, stopped at 3 a.m., memorizing every UN member country in every continent, and even all of the US states for good measure. I practiced on the full world map a few times and was able to score 100% in about 10 minutes. I was ready. The retribution. In the afternoon of the next day, I came across my friend again, and he immediately starts talking crap again. This time I was prepared. Well, I never saw you take the quiz, so you can't talk. In his Italian accent, he says, I am European. I think I would know better than you. I want to see, I replied. Fine, but you also have to do it so we can compare, he says, grinning maliciously. Perfect. He starts slow but gets almost all of them right. He is maybe a third of the way through when I lean back in my chair and look over at him. He is confused until he looks at my screen 100% and accuses me of cheating. He doesn't seem to know how I might have pulled it off, but is convinced that I did something. He finishes his quiz with a score of 85%. I thought you were European. What happened? He said, I don't believe you. Do it again, and this time I'm gonna watch. I do it again, this time even a little faster. You thought I was being serious yesterday. He accuses me of studying Europe yesterday and insists we try Asia to prove it. 70% to 100%. He is now visibly annoyed. No, I actually just do this during class when I'm bored. It's fun. I was messing with you yesterday. Did you think I actually didn't know any geography? I pull up the world map and complete it sub 10 minutes. 100% of course. And he is actually slamming his fists on the desk. I start talking crap about how he missed some of Europe. Bro, that's where you live. He just rests his head on his desk and goes, I hate you so much, I swear I could hear music. I have never been happier. Edit. I am well aware that I am in the wrong here. He is an exchange student living with me and definitely knows a lot more about world history and geography than me. The point was that I could learn some geography without giving him the satisfaction of knowing that he inspired me. Nothing against him, but I would never hear the end of it. The US definitely has an issue with being self-centered, and this is reflected in our education system and parts of our culture. I am very familiar with everything that is wrong with the US, as I have lived there my whole life. Believe me, I know. I am also aware that I don't know what gaslighting means. Website was Satara for anyone asking. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.